We need to wear and be beautiful with it. So, Ambassador again, give her a round of applause.
Good evening, my fellow African diaspora and friends of Africa. His Excellency, Ambassador to Ethiopia, to the family members of the royal family. I see my sister here. We were together just a few days ago. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to join us to celebrate one of our heroes. 127 years ago, a giant was born. A giant, after having lived in an Africa that was divided and choked up into tiny little economies that clearly could not survive on their own. A giant who said 56 years ago, enough is enough, that Africa can no longer continue to be divided. A giant who took it upon himself to call on all his brothers and sisters who were leading the continent back in 1963 to come to Addis Ababa, just like they did when they met in Berlin, Germany. What was done to the continent in Berlin was evil, plain and simple. And the emperor said, we must reverse the Berlin Conference. So he called upon all his brothers to come to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Precisely, just like they met in Berlin to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated, they met in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, at the invitation of none other than Emperor Haile Selassie to see to it that the children of Africa can no longer be divided, and that the children of Africa must come together, and that Africa must speak with one voice. So in 1963, the children of Africa, the Pan-African leaders came together at the Emperor's invitation. What a vision. To discuss how the children of Africa can undo the Berlin Conference. For those of you who are not familiar with the Berlin Conference, I urge you to look it up. The Africa that we have today and the problems that we are experiencing in Africa today, they all go back to the Berlin Conference. You see, during the Berlin Conference, they chopped up Africa into tiny little economies that clearly cannot survive on their own. I know I've heard some who say, but Ambassador, why do you talk about the Berlin Conference? It's a thing of the past. Well, allow me to bring it home.
That's right.
Allow me to bring it home. They set out to chop up our Africa into the tiny little countries that we are today. Prior to the Berlin Conference in 1884, we were humongous, powerful kingdoms with well-established educational and religious systems. We had it going in our Africa.
That's right, go on.
That was too much for them. They could take it. You see, a powerful, united Africa is an Africa that cannot be exploited. History tells us that one Englishman, after having traveled throughout the continent, finding economies and people that were so strong and powerful that they wondered how they, the colonizer, could defeat these incredible people. History tells us that they set out to put in place a system that would make the Africans believe everything African was bad and everything European, particularly French and British, was going to zero.
That's right.
It was all by design to destroy what was once an amazing continent, far more advanced than they we had what they did not have. Even to this day, what they stole from our continent, they are refusing to give our artifacts back. What kind of people are they? Shameful. There is no other way to explain it. Even after they have chopped off our heads to go and experiment on the skulls of black people, to this day, we are simply asking for the skulls of our ancestors, and some of them are still refusing to give them back to us. Seriously? Who does that? And they call themselves civilized. Civilized people do not do that. So it is, they chopped us up into all these many little countries that you see. They set in motion the rule of divide and conquer. Made us believe that we were inferior and they were superior. That was 135 years ago. Moving forward, nothing has changed. Have you ever wondered, why is it that Mozambique, which is an oil producer, Mozambican oil has to get out of Mozambique, out of Africa, only for Zimbabwe next door to buy the same oil at 20 to 30 times the cost? It's because it's easier to trade with the euro, with the pound, with the US dollar, than to switch to the Malawi kwacha. Thanks to the Berlin Conference. A friend of mine once showed me a map. There was a group of African women on one side of what looked like a road, selling their tomatoes and vegetables. And about this far, another group of women were doing the same. And he said to me, Ambassador, when you look at this picture, what do you see? I said, I see a road. He said, no, that is a border. When the women on this side of the street run out of tomatoes, the customers, while they can see the tomatoes across the street, what looks like a street, they cannot go there to buy the tomatoes. Why? They need a visa. Thanks to the Berlin Conference. Have you wondered why goods from Kenya to Central African Republic, two countries that are separated by one country, do you know how far those goods have to go from Kenya to get to Central African Republic? They have to go from Kenya all the way down to Cape Town, all the way back up to Cameroon, only to be ferried into Quao, Central African Republic. Why is that? Thanks to the Berlin Conference. My brother, who is the largest producer of towels in Egypt, he has to send his towels to Italy, only for his towels to be renamed Italian towels. So the brothers and sisters back in Africa can buy them back from Italy as Italian towels at 20 to 30 times the cost, thanks to the Berlin Conference. Have you ever wondered why intra-African trade is sitting at about 18%? Why can't we trade among each other? Because we got 44 different currencies, small currencies, that it is difficult for a brother in Malawi, a brother in Zambia, to buy towels from his brother in Egypt. But it's easier to buy the same towels out of Italy. Thanks to the Berlin Conference. So Emperor Haile Selassie, understanding that at the end of the day we may have attained political independence, we still need economic independence. Some of you may not know, as we were quote-unquote receiving our independence from our colonizers between 1958 and 1961, I often talk about the most horrible thing that was done to the Africans by the French. The French made the African countries, 14 of them to be exact, sign what they call the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. Could they at least have found another name? You want your independence? You must sign this document that is called the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. That if you do not sign this document, there will be consequences. Well, guess what? Secretary of Guinea said, absolutely not. France, pack your bags and go on home. Mali did the same thing as well. So in their rage and infuriation, wondering why any black man has the audacity of not wanting to be affiliated to France. History tells us France went into those two countries, took everything that they thought they had brought to those two countries. To hear Mugabe put it, they even took the last teaspoon and the last chair. Proceeded to pour concrete into the sewage pipes, completely devastating the two economies. The then newly appointed President of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, in order to help these two economies, created the first ever known union of any African states, Ghana, Guinea, and Mali. What they did to Guinea and Mali sent a message to the rest of the African countries, the Francophone countries. There is no such thing as Francophone, but I'm going to use it for the purposes of communication. There's only Africans, no Francophone. So just so you know, the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization, allow me to highlight a couple of issues. They said, you Africans, you don't know how to manage your money. You are going to deposit 85% of your bank reserves with the French Central Bank under the control of the French Minister of Finance. And should you need some of your own money that you have deposited with France, you have to submit your own country's financial reports. And if approved, you can only access up to 20% of your money as a loan at commercial interest rates. That was between 1958 and 1961. Fast forward 2019, maybe it goes on. They are still paying. The African countries are still depositing funds into the French Central Bank. Today, France is receiving, getting out of Africa, over $500 billion from African countries, and they still have the audacity to turn around and call us poor. They have the audacity to talk about why are the African youth dying trying to cross the Mediterranean. What's wrong with you African leaders? Why can't you take care of the people? Why to France I say, just leave our $500 billion and we'll be all right. They also say, you Africans, we are going to be the only ones to print your money. We're going to call it the Central African Safer and the West African Safer. No one else can print your money except France. The language of instruction shall be French. All your minerals discovered and yet to be discovered, the French companies have the first right of refusal. Now, my brothers and sisters, if you were to be a president of an African country, and I often say, the first day in office, your chief of staff walks in and reads you the do's and don'ts as stipulated by the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. You have lost your economic power. You have no control of your natural resources. What power do you have? What can you possibly do in your country? 2019, as we speak, the carnage as stipulated by the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization continues in your Africa, in our Africa. Emperor Haile Selassie understood all this. He said, what is it that we black people have done to deserve this abuse? Have we not been wounded enough? Let's go back to colonization. That wasn't enough. Now, in the name of giving us independence when you really have not left, colonization, my brothers and sisters, remains alive and well in our Africa. Emperor Haile Selassie was very clear about that. He understood it. And that is why he called on the Pan-African leaders to come and say, let's put an end to this stupidity. Africa belongs to the Africans and their children at home and abroad. now. He also proclaimed that you are not African because you were born in Africa. You are African because Africa is born in you. You see? You have to understand that being an African is a spirit. I work with an amazing team of Americans who may not look like me at the State Department right here in Washington, D.C. I feel blessed that I have such a team working with me. All of them, the majority of them, have been to Africa. They understand Africa. As a matter of fact, I call them my African brothers and sisters because they truly have Africa born in them. So with that in mind, Haile Selassie sat down around the table, just like they did in Berlin, but this time with his African brothers, to strategize on how to undo this evil that befell our continent in the name of the Berlin Conference, how to undo this evil that befell our continent in the name of the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization. Because they realized the only way to really get over this is for us to speak with one voice. But sadly, when they came to Addis Ababa, they were divided. We had the Casablanca group, who were Ghana, Guinea, Mali, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, and Algeria. And then the rest were the nationalists, who were the Monrovia group. The Casablanca group said, African Union now. The nationalists said, well, let's go slow. And because they were the majority, they won. 55 years later, Africa is still going slow. The energy and vigor that our Pan-African leaders left for us, somehow for 55 years, we lost it. We are sleeping, my brothers and sisters. What is it going to take for us to wake up? All is not lost, however. Last year, March, our African leaders finally came together and said the insanity of yesteryear must come to an end. They agreed on what we are now calling the African Continental Free Trade Area, where Africa is going to be speaking with one voice. The heads of states, 54 of them, Nigeria being the last one to sign, said amen. Africa must speak with one voice.
Yes.
And in order for the African Continental Free Trade Area to be in force, we needed 22 countries to go back to their countries, put this decision through their parliament, and bring back the paperwork, which we call the ratification papers. You see, the nurses, this business of ratification, it takes years. The average ratification takes about 5 years. So the world was saying, well, particularly our European friends, this is never going to happen. The CFTA thing is going to be a piece of paper in a drawer. 20 years from now, it's never going to happen. That was March 2018. Our heads of states told them, watch us. We have Emperor Haile Selassie. He's got our back. Here's our back. Second Tuesday, here's our back. And better, here's our back. So we know. Kwame Nkrumah.
Oh. Yes.
Patricia, McDougall, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and many others whose shoulders we stand on today, they have our backs. When last year, 2018, March, to be specific, the heads of state said, we've been standing on their shoulders for too long. It's time we finish the unfinished business of Emperor Haile Selassie. I take this, my brothers and sisters. I I just have so much fun and joy when I share this news with my brothers and sisters. Exactly 13 months from when the heads of state signed the African Continental Free Trade Area, the 22nd ratification was deposited to the African Union. Hallelujah. During the summit, the AU summit, we officially launched the African Continental Free Trade Area. And exactly 12 months from July this year, your Africa, our Africa, is going to begin to trade. Our Africa, the giant that has been thrown around as tiny little countries which could not get on the big stage with the big boys. July next year, the giant Africa is going to begin trading as Africa. Wherever our Pan-African fathers are, wherever Emperor Haile Selassie is, I know he is doing flips in his room. I call it the 56-year-old pregnancy. We have been trying to get to this point for 56 years. The baby is finally born. Now the real work begins. And this is where you come in. I was sent here. My message was very clear. 2 mandates: promote Africa in the Americas. We have friends in this country. Madam Zuma sat me down and said, my sister, if sustainable change is going to come to Africa, it's going to start with the diaspora, but not just any African diaspora, but the African diaspora in America.
That's right.
The African Union definition of the African diaspora are all people of African descent living outside Africa. So, if you are an African American, yes, my brother, you are an African diaspora. If you are an Caribbean, yes, my brother, you are an African diaspora. If you are an Afro-Latino, yes, my brother and sister, you are an African diaspora. You see, you don't go to China and find black people in front of the line for contracts. You don't go to Mexico, India, Europe, and find black people in front of the line. So why must you go to Africa and find non-Africans in front of the line to develop Africa? They said, Ambassador, whatever you do, bring the children of Africa home. You see, this baby is now born. We've got to get diapers. We've got to buy formula. We've got to strategize those sleepless nights, organizing as to how we're going to change our lifestyle because the baby's born. You are needed on the table. You are needed to come to the front row of everything development. You must understand one thing. There has never been a time that a strategic planning session was ever held to talk about developing Africa, the continent. It has always been little countries. So I'm saying to you, it is a clean slate. They're saying, Ambassador, the expertise that Africa needs to build Africa that we want is in the diaspora. The diaspora must come to the table. We are not saying, pick up, pack your bags, and go to Africa. We are saying, just like they do, come and benefit from what is your inheritance. You can still come back to America and cycle like they do. say tonight, what is in Africa is your worth.
That's right.
You are the inheritors. The truth of the matter is, my brothers and sisters, the railway from Cape Town to Cairo is going to be built. The question is, by who? Are you going to be on the table? The railway from West Africa to East Africa is going to be built. The question is, by who? The African leaders are saying the children of Africa must come home. That the children of Africa are very able to build the Africa that we want. So you got to understand, they've been building the Africa that they want. That game is up. We are going to be building the Africa that we want. So I shall be coming back to all of you, telling you all about it. I'm sitting right next to my brother here. We just came back from Miami. He was so excited he could sleep for days. And I'm saying I need to keep you informed about what is going on in your Africa. We need you to be part of it. A black woman who is cleaning the homes in Brazil must be a shareholder of what is going on in Africa. Everybody must participate and benefit from what is rightfully ours. And all we gotta do, my brothers and sisters, let's do like the rest of the other races have done. You ask for the voices of the Chinese in this country, loud and clear. The Indian voices, loud and clear. The Irish, the Jews. But when you ask for the voices of the black people, you might as well go to the graveyard. We are missing in action. We've been told we should not get along. Don't trust your brother. Don't trust your sister. And we have been foolish enough to agree with that. How long? What is it going to take for us to be sick and tired of being sick and tired? All we gotta do is get along and believe in each other.
Yes.
A million people with $1,000, that's $1 billion. You can't afford to just say, I believe in you, my brother. I believe in you, my sister. I'm putting my $1,000 because I believe in infrastructure for the continent. You can't believe in that? And I'm going to take it home and keep it really simple. But if a Caucasian brother was to come and ask you for $1,000 to invest, you will run up and deposit that money without questions. The self-hate has got to go.
Yes.
While we have issues, that we need to deal with, the biggest battle is the battle of the mind. We lost the shackles in our ankles. We lost the shackles of our wrists. The shackles of the mind continue to rage on. The dangerous thing for Africa today is a colonized mind. It's a mind that is suffering from the legacy of slavery. How long are we going to say enough is enough? Emperor Haile Selassie spoke loud and clear. As I stand here, I am so proud, knowing that the African leaders have paved the way. They've done the groundwork that is needed for the children of Africa to now walk the talk. The question is, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready to make the emperor proud?
Yes.
Are you ready to make Kwame proud? Are you ready to make Palau Nasa proud? Are you ready to make Julius Gabi, Max Gabi proud? And I always say, we, the black people, the origin of humanity is ignored. The inheritors of one of the wealthiest continents on earth. And I call ourselves, and allow me to be like Amanda, the proud, the beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated, highly adaptable, and totally indestructible children of one mother Africa. I have no doubt in my mind that Mother Africa is calling you to come home. That Haile Selassie has spoken. Haile Selassie has been waiting in his grave for 56 years. When are you going to answer his call? are you going to answer his call? Can we please put the emperor to rest so he can relax in his grave knowing that what he started, the unfinished business of the OAU, the children of Africa have come together, are going to pick up where he left. Can I get an amen for that? Can we all stand up? Can we all stand up? And who's got a good voice to start singing a happy birthday song for Emperor Haile Selassie? We have any musicians in here. I'm losing my voice, but I'm going to start. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Ladies and gentlemen, since you are standing, please give a round of applause to Ambassador Arikana. Please give me an inspiration. If you go to the YouTube, you can go and click. You listen, seems to be an hour 20. Keep on me.
Thank you, ladies. And again, happy birthday to our emperor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for standing. Let's give a round of applause. And we'll celebrate happy birthday of His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. Since you guys are standing, can we remember the Pan-African leaders who made us this? And then the new one like Ambassador Arikana. Please give a round of applause. Please give a round of applause for African American Pan-Africans. Please give a round of applause for Europeans, Asians, Latin Americans. Ambassador Kasu, Ambassador Arikana, His Excellency, and Abuna Lipos. We'll go to the cake and then we'll do the ceremony. And all, can you give a round of applause and then follow the music that the Rastafarians, and give them a round of applause. The promoter of Ethiopia, the promoter of Africa, the promoter of Africa, the whole government, and the whole of Mali. Now we will get a blessing.